Hello and welcome. This section is about forgiveness. We often hear people tell us, oh, you need to forgive that person or you need to forgive that act. I would briefly like to expand on that. What is the significance of forgiveness for our personal, emotional, and spiritual health, but also for everyone around us? Now, if you are familiar with the works of French philosopher Jacques Derrida, in one of his books called Cosmopolitanism and Forgiveness, he poses this perplexing question, right? First of all, what is forgiveness? So his question is that there is a problem in when we think about forgiveness. And that is, if I say I'll only forgive what is forgivable, then is that really truly forgiveness? Because you're doing what can be done, right? And then he says that, okay, if you say I will give what comes across to me as unforgivable, the moment you do that, it has become forgivable. So the question that it poses is there any true forgiveness, right? But obviously there is in material terms in the way we live our lives. First of all, it has an impact on your body and how it feels, the chemicals in your bodies. So if you had an argument with someone or a conflict with someone and you walk away from there without resolving it in that moment, what you're carrying with that is the traces of that argument. And there is research on this, right? Your body will not come down to its normal chemical makeup unless you either call that person and ask for their forgiveness, or if they have wronged you, tell them you forgive them. Now, you don't even have to mean it, but saying that, bringing yourself to a point where you say you forgive them, means that you have started the healing process. Your body now knows this is resolved. That's how crucial forgiveness is to our everyday life and how we feel in it. Then on a larger scale, people can sometimes do things that are terrible, that hurt you. And you carry that burden throughout your life. Every time you think of them, you get angry, right? You get anxious. And what I've learned in my life is that if they are still there in this world, right, it's good to reach out to them and say, look, we had some tough times. You said some terrible things to me, but I just wanted to let you know that I forgive you. Or if you have wronged someone, and so the traces of that are still in your unconscious, the only way you will feel better about yourself and about that situation is, it doesn't matter how long it takes, is when you reach out to them and ask for their forgiveness, or at least say sorry. And I can tell you these things are important in life. Now, in the Muslim tradition, we are taught at a very young age, especially if you have parents who teach you such things, that whatever you have done wrong, which God is supposed to judge, which is between God and you, not praying, not giving alms, or, not performing the Hajj or not fasting, you resolve it between you and your God. But whatever interactions you've had with other human beings, they are supposed to forgive you in this lifetime for you to take a clean slate up into the heavens on Judgment Day. And I've seen the consequences of it in people's lives. Many, many years ago, there was a relative of ours wonderful human being, but for some reason he got greedy. And, he took some valuable things from my father and appropriated them. And my dad didn't follow it up. And then this person got terminally ill. And a week before, he was about to pass away, he requested for my father to come visit him, and which we do anyway. You go and visit your sick relatives. And my father went and he said, "Look, I cannot die without seeking your forgiveness for wronging you." That's how important it was to him from the point of view of faith. And my father, of course, said, "Absolutely, I forgive you. It's long past." But that's how crucial forgiveness is. And another thing is that if you cannot apologize to the person or a person you wronged years ago, acknowledging it to yourself that you were wrong and that you forgive yourself, but acknowledging that is a kind of forgiveness to yourself. Or if it's someone who hurt you years ago and you're still carrying that hurt, and there is no way of confronting them and asking them to seek your forgiveness, right? You forgiving them in absentia, in the privacy of your own mind, will help you feel better, help you resolve the conflict. The idea of forgiveness is that you don't just forgive the deserving, or you don't just say, "I will forgive you for this and not." And you're not doing it for them. You're doing it for yourself, because if you don't, you will carry that poison in your soul and it will haunt you and come to hurt you. And then remember, being generous and kind to yourselves, right? Correct your wrongs. Apologize to the people whom you accidentally or even intentionally hurt, right? But also never forget to forgive yourself. Because when you do that, then you can start anew. You can think about life differently. But if it is unresolved and it's in the back of your mind, even behind your rational mind and your unconscious, then it will constantly keep hurting you. Now, sometimes we are in a conflictual situation where, our pride kicks in. And we want to fight on, which is a good instinct, right? Not instinct, it's a trained thing. I was like that. But I realized that my life became better when I stopped seeking recognition from others, when I stopped fighting that hard, when I encountered someone who absolutely would be mean to me and unkind to me, when I turned around and told them, okay, you have a right to be the way you are, but you will not make me like you, right? That was me acknowledging that this person maybe at this moment isn't realizing that they are hurting me, right? But not to make an issue out of it. Be forgiving. And maybe years later they'll think about it and come back to you. But even if they don't, you, at your end, have let go of it. So forgiveness, emotionally and spiritually, is a way of letting go of things from our past or things from our present, right? So that we can start a new way of living, a new way of looking at life. Now, of course, you have to make choices in your life. Maybe to you there are certain things that are unforgivable. Maybe sometimes the other person needs to learn their limits. And I'm not saying that we should all become passive. Forgiveness is an active act, right? You don't just passively forgive someone. All I'm saying is that when you have two options in life, to retaliate or to remember someone in terrible terms, figure out if forgiveness can be the other brighter path. So these are some of my views on forgiveness. As I shared in the introduction, none of these are deeply philosophical views, but they are based in a lifetime of learning, reading, and experiencing life in so many different ways. I hope these thoughts are useful to you. And if anything comes to your mind, if you think of something that could let me learn more, right, or that could enhance my understanding of this concept of forgiveness, please reach out to me through the course messaging center, and I will be happy to address those, maybe in an additional conversation based in your questions. Thank you so much, and peace and love.